Hi, my name is Deboni Park. I work for ALS Arizona. We are an organization that's been around since 1991. We were established to help people living with ALS in Arizona get free resources to education, support, advocacy, equipment, all types of things. So we're very grateful for the opportunity to be here today. I would like to introduce quickly some people here with us who are living with ALS. Each of them have been willing to share their story today, which we're really grateful for. So Rosemary Horsman, Jim Butler, and Mary Cross. So I'll let them each take their turn sharing their story. We'll start with you.
Okay.
Lucky Rose.
Hi, I'm Rose. Can you hear me okay out there? Okay, good. I have ALS, and this is my excuse for my slow speaking ability. Believe me, I never used to talk like this. ALS is an always fatal disease in which a person's brain loses connection with the muscles. People with ALS lose their ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually breathe. Symptoms and speed of this progression differ for every person. First signs that something might be wrong is stumbling, clumsiness, speech changes, muscle weakness, muscle cramping, and twitches. Let me brief you on my previous years before my diagnosis. In 1997, age 46, I suffered a back injury. I had 4 surgeries, a 9-month medical leave, and then I returned to my nursing career and retired in 2014 at the age of 62. Just prior to retiring, I had blacked out. An ambulance trip to the hospital, fractured ankle, more surgery, plates and screws. Why did I pass out? Unknown. Life was fairly normal for a few years. Then I began experiencing dizziness, dehydration, hospitalizations, amnesia, and then soon I frequently had backward falls hitting my head, used a walking stick. I always loved to walk, and eventually graduated to a walker. Mayo doctors couldn't determine a cause for my issues after having MRIs, CT scans, physical therapy, ENT, EMGs, labs, no hints. Falls continued. I had black eyes, cuts, bruises, broken shoulder, more surgery. Speech was slower than ever. Lost my singing voice. Not that I was a soloist, but I loved singing in the choir. November 21st, now I'm age 70 in 2021. Repeat testing was done. They found a compression in my spinal cord in the neck region. Well, surgery was done. Probably wouldn't resolve my symptoms, but they wouldn't worsen. Well, guess what? Things worsened. I had unintentional weight loss, 80 pounds. I could go into a story about how wonderful it was for me to lose 80 pounds. I've tried all my entire life. And now the scale was going on while I kept eating. Anyway, that I had left leg weakness, voice changes continued. I had hyper reflexes, more falls, left foot drop, right foot drop, bilateral carpal tunnel, extensive EMG and labs, finally convinced the motor neuron specialist on September 17, 2024, to diagnose me with ALS. I was so stressed. I comprehended nothing else. I came in with a walker and left in a wheelchair. I bawled for 3 days. Then I finally came to grips. I decided no pity parties for me. Well, it's been 18 months since my diagnosis. It's hard to say when my ALS started. My thoughts are of several years ago. Life has definitely changed, overwhelmed with my thoughts. The worst part for me is my voice and the speaking changes. And fatigue. I used to do quite a bit of public speaking with my work and church and so forth, and I loved it. Now I don't love it so much because I can't look at my people and speak normally. I try to focus on positivity. I have good days and bad days. I've gone from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair. They're all savers. My wheelchair prevents some fatigue. I have left leg weakness, right leg weakness, carpal tunnel, both hands, tripping, falling, injuries. Well, my wheelchair keeps me safe now. Imbalances, voice changes, swallowing troubles, excessive saliva, fatigue. It kind of hits everything, but everybody has different type of symptoms. We're not all alike. I am fortunate. I remain independent with my ADLs. I am slow. My husband of 55 years is my caretaker. I struggle with that caretaker word. You see, I was born to be independent, and it's very difficult for me to accept help. I figure if I can't do it, no one can. I'm trying real hard to show improvement in this area. And I'm very grateful to be 75 years old. Very young people get this ALS. Way too sad and unfair. I believe attitude matters. Knowledge matters. Medical staff, general public, patients, you out there and me, we need to recognize ALS. We need to figure out a cause, a method to diagnose this disease, and a cure. Maybe one of you out there can make it happen. Thank you all for being here, and I do appreciate your listening to my slow speaking pace.
Can you hear me? My name is Mary Cross, and I have vulvar ALS, which affects my speech, obviously. And I was asked to give a brief recap of the journey to my diagnosis. Rose, you did such an intro to what this disease is. I'll jump into my journey. Spring of 2024, besides allergies, I had a weird hoarseness that I went to my primary care. He checked me out, gave me a nasal spray, and sent me home. It continued through the summer and into the fall, and then I was referred to an ENT. the diagnosis from him was aging vocal cords. Gave me a different nasal spray. And I usually hike 4 miles a day. And I realized I couldn't walk and talk at the same pace. So, back to the ENT, and he sent me to a pulmonologist for a lung function, which was normal, but he put me on an inhaler, which didn't do a thing. So at that point, I felt like a hamster in a wheel and not getting the answers I needed. So in June of 25, so now we're more than a year, I went back to the ENT, frustrated, hoarseness, and now slurring my words. He looked at me for 5 minutes, saw a weakness in my tongue, fasciculations, ordered a head MRI, speech therapy, and a swallow test. The brain MRI showed no irregularities, and I have no brain. And then the swallow test showed a weakness in my tongue and a narrowing. And then he also referred me to a neurologist. I could not get an appointment with a neurologist for 5 months. When I went and saw him, he looked at me for about 15 minutes, pinched my arms, did a reflex thing, and said, "Bulbar ALS." I'm like, whoa. But he ordered MRI of my neck and blood work and referred me to 2 neurologists in Phoenix, Honor Health and Barrows. On November 20th of 2025, the doctor at Honor Health said, "I'm 99% sure it's ALS, but go to Barrows." On December 1st, at Barrows Clinic, they evaluated me for 4 hours and then ordered an EMG for the next morning. The doctor himself did the test so I would not leave Phoenix without a diagnosis. And it was confirmed on December 2nd. Currently, my symptoms are still with my speech and swallowing. That is the medical side. Now, the personal side is my family and friends are amazingly supportive and patient. However, when I'm out in public, I feel very vulnerable because people don't understand, they're insensitive and rude. So, I am my own best advocate. I take my board and say, I have difficulty with my speech due to ALS. I haven't been drinking. I haven't had a stroke. I have ALS. And that completely changes their attitude.
We're having drinks after this, though.
Right. So in conclusion, I understand the seriousness and the gravity of this disease. I'm not getting out of it. But I will not let it define me. I wake up every morning to find joy in the day and literally put one foot in front of the other as I continue hiking 4 to 5 miles a day. That helped me stay and appreciate the present. Thank you again for being here and your patience with my wonky voice.
Thank you. I think that. Good afternoon. I'm Jim Butler. If you guys don't mind, I got to stand. Italian heritage. If I'm not walking and talking, it's not right for me. So if you don't mind, I just need to stand up. I have ALS. I have a very rare variant called bibrachial ALS, or better known as man-in-the-barrel syndrome. At some point in time, both my arms are going to be useless to me through this process. But I want to share the journey of how I got here today. To let you know, my right arm, this is as high as I can raise it. My left arm, I can still do this, just weak. That's about it. And there's other symptoms I'm going to kind of go through, but I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a perspective of where I come from. I retired early. I just turned 65 last November. I had to retire early because of ALS. I spent 30 plus years in the healthcare industry as a healthcare executive and a healthcare consultant. I've been to about every hospital across the country, and so I know the healthcare system cold. I know the better performing healthcare systems and those that don't function as well. And I took that knowledge in my journey to find healthcare. I originally, the reason I wanted to stand too is I'm trying to get my arm to, grab this thing because it shakes a little bit too much. But I started actually noticing some changes in my body back in 2016. I started to get fasciculations in my arms. Tremors is what fasciculations are. And it just felt different. Why is this going? So I went to my primary care physician. Maybe you're allergic to this, or you did that, or I was an old hockey player. When I was playing hockey at the time, maybe I had a little bit of an injury due to that. That was all that was said. I pushed and pushed, and I got a referral to a neurologist when I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and had my first EMG done. That came back as benign fasciculation. I'm thinking, great, I'm a winner, right? Benign fasciculation, I can do it, benign tremor. So I joined the Benign Tremor Association, was getting information, how to cure it, all these great things. Life was good. Go on, right? No. As time went on, all of a sudden, the tremors manifested throughout my body. I was on a reverberation all day, all night, through my stomach, through my legs, and my arms and my whole body. I felt these tremors. And I thought, this is not right. Something's going on here. At the time, I was the CEO for a large medical group in New Jersey. And I went and had MRIs done, and I had additional scans, and I didn't have another EMG, but I had it done. And what I found out was I have severe spinal stenosis in C3, 4, and 5. And you know, that was a kind of an indicator of maybe why I can't move my arm, because I went from, excuse me, I went from being able to lift my arm to this high, to this high, to this high, to where I am today in the last 2.5 years. And today, no one can tell me, even the neurologists that I see can tell me, or the orthopedic surgeon that I saw could tell me, is my inability to raise my arm due to my stenosis in 3, 4, and 5, and I've got other pretty bad areas in my back, or is it due to my ALS that I have? So again, no one has given me a definitive answer on that. I get the answer, I think it's due to both. Okay, that's what I got. It's due to both. I moved, retired early, moved to Arizona. I didn't realize that as hot as it is here in the summer. Holy shit, to be honest with you. So I came here and I went to a prominent healthcare facility up in Phoenix, and decided that they met with the neurology team there and had an EMG, and it came back, well, there's a good probability, again, probability you have ALS, but we can't tell you why you can't move your arm. And I got such massive muscle loss, you know, in my arm, and bicep is non-existent. And through this process, actually through the ALS process, I've lost about 20 to 25 pounds of muscle mass through my body. It's affected me from the standpoint I walk with a little bit of a limp now. So I started thinking, I said, all right, and that was it. No follow-up, no nothing. Goodbye. There you go. On your way. And I said, you know what? I've been in this business too long, right? I know all the organizations who are the better ones to contact. So I got on the phone myself. I didn't use my primary care doctor here. I called the Barrow Institute, talked to them, got right in within a week, and was seen. They said, Jim, I don't need an EMG from you. I'm looking at your results. I'm looking at everything that you've given us, right? I'm looking at your MRIs and all this that you sent us, right? You have ALS, period. That's it. But what you have is this rare form called bibrachial, which affects my arms. And it's different from the standpoint of I've lost my fine motor skills, my ability to pick up a screw, pick up a pill, pick something up on a table, to be able to, you know, people that know me know I'm an avid do-it-yourselfer, fix up a house, do all these type of things. And, you know, not to be able to pick up a hammer or a screwdriver and, you know, and fix things is death to me from the standpoint of just not being able to do the things that I love to do. So I went to the Barrow, and they have given me the you know, great care and identifying what I have. But it's this fine motor skills, the inability to, you know, to open a Ziploc bag. The real killer is I can't open up a candy bar. I can't have a candy bar. And it's other things that you do notice. You know, your muscle loss. And I was an avid trail rider. I would ride my bike and zip around cactus and all that. You know, a little bit of a thrill seeker in doing so. But to sit on my bike seat hurts. You know, I lost too much muscle in my ass to be able to do this. And it's bothersome because of the fact that was the exercise I was getting and all of this. And not to be able to do those things really has been a detriment to me. But I look at this and I say, okay, I got two choices. I can crawl in a hole, be depressed, or I can carry on with life. And I said, you know what? Damn it, I'm carrying on with life. My whole goal is to be involved in as many clinical trials as possible, not for the benefit of me, but for the benefit of others down the road. That's the way I look at this, is to be positive and be optimistic. People have known me through my career and through my life have always said, Jim's a can-do, positive guy. That's me. You know, the positive toxicity that I bleed is what gets me through day in, day out. I just look at this, I got my family to protect, I've got everything that I've got to do, you know, as a husband and as a father of 2 boys. One's a nurse in Huntsville, Alabama, getting his nurse practitioner's license. I said, go for it. And I got another one that's a fireman up in Flagstaff, Arizona, who is the type of kid that, you know, if there's a problem, he's running towards it. He saved 3 lives before he became a fireman. Just proud dad, sorry for going off on a tangent here. But, you know, for the things that he's done, you know, that's my motivation. So I take a very positive aspect to this. The fortunate thing that I have is my respiratory is at 100% plus. I'm really strong from a respiratory standpoint. My voice has not been affected at all. Just the muscle wasting and my inability to start to use my hands, that's, you know, that's reflective of the type of disease that I have or the very slow progression. So I'm here, I'm ready to jump in and help out. I'm actively involved with ALS of Arizona on the advisory committee. I'm actively involved in junior achievement. And for anybody that's looking for a car museum, I'm involved in the Tucson Auto Museum as a volunteer. So keep myself busy. Being retired is boring as hell. So anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards. But thank you guys so much for the work that you do and the diligence that you put forth to stamp out this terrible disease. We all understand what it means when you have it, right? Yeah. But at some point in time, maybe not in my lifetime, you're going to kick its ass, and this is going to get taken care of just like everything else. So thank you guys so much for what you do.